What is up, everybody? Welcome to the latest episode of Cover 3, or I guess you could call it Cover 2 today. Our guy Andre is not here. He's not feeling well. And so we're going to go on without him, but we're thinking about him. But yeah, this is the latest episode of Cover 2. Lots of Niners news to talk about as the Niners get ready to play the New Orleans Saints. A lot of injury news. Niners are going to have a new man at the helm on Sunday, and I don't know how to feel about that. Some people are way more encouraged and way more have a feeling of nothing's going to change. I don't quite feel that way, but yeah, we'll talk about that and much more for the next hour or so. But before we do that, Sterling, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Been a long week, a lot of events happening, but we have Niner football this Sunday. It's a big one. You may say it's a must-win game this weekend for the red and gold. Mac Jones is now the quarterback. We now know no Brock Purdy for what could be the next month or so. No George Kittle. The pressure is raised. Can they get a win? And I cannot wait to watch this team play. 10 a.m. breakfast with the 49ers on the West Coast. I am very much anticipating a good slugfest this Sunday between the Saints and the 49ers.
Yeah, it's a 1 a.m. game for me. I get to stay up, or I get to get it in early. The thing about the 1 a.m. games for an East Coaster is if your team has a good game and they win, the rest
Is
of
it
your
AM or
afternoon.
PM? It's PM for you.
PM, yeah, not AM. 1 p.m.
That's a long night.
The thing with those kind of games is if you played them early and then you win, it's always like the best. The rest of your day is great. You can eat dinner, it tastes better, everything is better. The 4 p.m. games, it's like 7 o'clock, almost 8 o'clock by the time they're over. And you're just like, that was a slug to get through. You know what I mean? They take forever. So definitely anticipating this one. I'll be honest with you, Sterling. I said this on Twitter, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, you're a downer," or whatever. My projection and my prediction and my overall feeling of the 49ers definitely changed after last week's game. Just the amount of collateral damage that we suffered in just a week one, and I talked about it in preseason. I tweeted about it. People were like, "Wait till the regular season. This is nothing. It's just a preseason, and we don't need people right now." Blah blah blah. And I'm like, "Yeah, but what if it does happen in the regular season?" And people are like, "Oh, don't be like that." And then it happened, and it's happening at a crazy rate as usual. It's coming in from last year being 6-10 and or 6-11. And just the way things went last year, it's has a strong feeling of deja vu.
Yeah, that's the tough thing, right? Where you come in after a bad season last year, you're optimistic. Can they bounce back? They're gonna bounce back. Brock Purdy's paid, Fred Warner's paid, George Kittle's paid, and now 2 of the 3 guys they paid this offseason are hurt. And they'll come back at some point this year, whether it is week 3 or week 6, who knows? We'll find out hopefully pretty soon. But yeah, the optimism scale has definitely swung from everyone's healthy, you beat the Seahawks, you're feeling pretty good, to, oh my God, the sky's falling. You don't have your quarterback, you don't have your tight end, you may not have your left tackle this weekend. So it's a big concern for sure. But I think this is the game they can win. Like, of the next 3 to 4 weeks they have against the Cardinals, the Jaguars, and the Rams, this is the one they can win. And if you can find a way to be competitive against the Cardinals and the Jaguars, win one of those games or not, maybe you can walk out of week 5 being 3-2 or being somewhere above 500. So I know the consensus thought is leaning towards the negative after seeing all the guys get hurt, but don't be too down. Don't forget, this is the New Orleans Saints. They suck. Now, San Francisco may suck too because so many guys are out, but the Saints really, really suck. Don't forget that.
Does the injuries happening again anger you in any way like it does me? With a feeling of like, I feel like either they're snake bitten, somebody cursed them, or they're doing something wrong behind the scenes where we just can't figure it out. I know some things you can't help, and I understand that it's football. People always like, it's football, Aaron. I'm like, no, we're playing cricket. Well, of course I know that. I don't know. I get almost angry, but at the same time, I'm almost like I've just resigned, emotionally resigned, like, okay, that it's just gonna be this way, and, to let my expectations be as minuscule as possible. It's tough because I was cautiously optimistic going into this season, more than I think I should have been considering the roster turnover.
Yeah.
And then all this stuff happened again, and I'm just like, "Man, really?" I'm still surprised that it keeps happening, even though I say I know it's coming, but I don't know, man. Does it anger you? Is there anything that
Uh, I'm not angry. I think I'm just more upset of like, oh, it's happening again. Like this is a seasonal thing. I don't think it's a training staff issue. I don't think it's a Shanahan issue. There's no random Barry jersey under the stadium that has somehow cursed San Francisco. Um, I just think it's the unfortunate part of playing sports. I know last night, Jaden Reed broke his collarbone after playing off a broken foot for the Packers, and Austin Eckler, who was supposed to have a big year and kind of be the Commanders' RB2, RB1 coming into 2025 again, tore his Achilles last night. So, and even the Saints aren't going to have one of their starting guards in Trevor Penning. They're not going to have Chase Young. They're going to maybe have their starting right tackle, and they're not going to have their starting safety. So, for as banged up as San Francisco is, and look, they're banged up. They're really, really banged up. Not having Ayuk, Robinson, Kittle, Purdy, Mustafa, 5 really important players. And the history would also share they are always really hurt. But I'm a fan, or I believe in this Niner team, at least against the Saints, but not angry. More just so disappointed of like, oh, it's happening again. Can you survive? That's the big thing. Is can you survive? Can you get to week 3 or 4 or 5 once Purdy and Kittle can come back and maybe go on a run then? But again, can you survive that stretch to get to them? That has to be proven, not guaranteed.
this was from Matt Barrows. Let me zoom in a little bit here, but this is what we were basing everything after. Let's go down. Let's zoom in. And yeah, so
Wait, time. Did Aaron learn how to use StreamYard and zoom in on Twitter?
uh-huh.
We
I
did
didn't
it,
realize you
folks.
had it not it's not the page you zoom in on, it's the actual tweet. It
Yes.
took me. Okay. So Brock Purdy toe, shoulder, not practicing. Trent Williams, this is the one I want to ask you about because it kind of aligns with the question I want to ask you later. Trent Williams' knee, he's in uniform, but on the side field, Jennings, of course, is on hand. They showed him dunking over the uprights in at the practice field. Trent, situation with Trent. Trent seems like he's always hurt. Surprised, or you resign to the fact that that's just the way that things are with him, considering his age and his injury history.
Well, I think your question kind of resides also. I think Lori Matthews said in the YouTube chat asking, is Trent going to play on Sunday? And I think that is the question we have to ask first because, yes, Trent Williams is hurt again. Yes, Trent Williams was rolled up on against Seattle. So it's not like, he just got hurt, messing around in the locker room. He was playing football, got rolled up on, finished the game. But Trent, to me, is a player like Christian McCaffrey that doesn't necessarily needs to practice to play. Same thing with Kittle. Same thing with Purdy. Like, those guys don't need to practice to play. Like, they're good to go. Nick Bosa, too, in that category. Fred Warner is also in there. The stars of this team don't have to practice. I think it's a good sign. He's out there at warm-ups, getting stretched out, doing some workouts and stuff. I think Trent will play this Sunday. I really do, because the last thing you want to do is toss out there a third string tight end, your backup quarterback, your backup left tackle with a bunch of practice squad / deep depth chart pieces as wide receivers behind Jennings and Pearsall. So I think he'll play. And really on top of that, I might add, now that you're not going to have Brock Purdy and George Kittle, you need Trent Williams more than ever to establish the run, get into play action. like they really need Trent this Sunday to help, pull and everything. But I think Trent will play. I really think Trent will play.
Strawberry X says, Sterling, why haven't they put Brock on IR? And that's an interesting, I think, question to answer or talk about. It seemed like John hinted at the injury being more of a week-to-week injury, as opposed to legit, like, okay, he tore something or he strained something, he's out 4 weeks. Like Kittle is out. He has a legitimate hamstring strain, so he needs to recover from it. And so they put him in a 4-week. I think it's like more than 4 weeks. You get a 4 or 5 weeks. I think IR stint is almost likely. But with him being week to week, at least that's the way John was leaning to when they asked him. I think on KNBR, I'm not sure. That's the reason, Strawberry X, why the 49ers haven't put him on IR yet.
Yeah, that is my assumption too. I think a lot of it comes down to like Kittle gonna be out. Even if Kittle's out for 3 weeks and the 4th week is just precaution, you got to have that roster spot. You got to find somebody to fill that role. So even if Kittle was back by, I don't know, the Jaguars game, okay, you missed the game against the Rams. It's not the end of the world. You want to win that game, but if it can afford you winning other games to get ahead of the Rams or equal footing of Los Angeles on that week, Thursday night game, you don't mind that. But for Purdy's injury, I think there's a chance he comes back against the Cardinals. But more importantly, he's back against Jacksonville in 2 weeks' time. And we're sitting back of, okay, Purdy missed 2 weeks. If they can avoid going 0-2 against the Saints and the Cardinals, you're 2-1 against the Jaguars. You should win that game. You'll have Demarcus Robinson back at that point. Hopefully, Juwan's healthy. You'll have a more integrated Kendrick Bourne and Pearsall, and hopefully a healthier Trent and a still healthy Christian McCaffrey. So, really, Purdy will likely be the emergency third quarterback, which will likely mean he's not going to play at all because he shouldn't. But right now, it's simply based on how can we salvage a roster spot for Kittle and still hope Purdy comes back in 2 weeks' time against Jacksonville.
I had this question down the line on the show, but I figure it fits in with what we're talking about. I want to go back and talk about Trent. Not really surprised about Trent Williams at this point. I guess my question to you is like, should this be his last year? I think it should be. I think the Niners need to look to. I tweeted a younger, less injured, more, just, a rookie, whether it was a draft pick or whatever, somebody who's less, costs less money too. I think it's this year. I think it's just, man, it's like putting Humpty Dumpty back together with Trent all the time. Like it's like with glue and, and like chop, ice cream, the wooden sticks. Like we're piecing them together with different things just to keep them upright. I don't know. What's your feeling on him?
I don't know if I'm sold on, forcibly retiring Trent in a way, to save some money. Yes, it would help them with the financial stuff, make their lives easier and this, that, and the other. But, Trent didn't miss all of last season because of an injury. His child passed away.
That is true. That's true. I forgot about that. Yeah.
And so, yes, I think if, say, down the stretch of the year, if the Niners were in a playoff run and his child and what happened with that wasn't tragic and it didn't happen, Trent probably would have came back. I think he was off the foot scooter around week 14. Like there was still time week 13. But I think it really, like with Trent, the ankle is always the question mark. Like when is the ankle going to finally explode and that's going to be it? This is his knee. There's no tear. There's probably just a strain. There's maybe, some pain there, but maybe it's a hyperextension. He'll play through it. But I don't think you are going to forcibly retire Trent Williams. Now, there is an out in his contract after this season, but it's really expensive. And I don't think San Francisco's in a spot to say, get out of here. I think San Francisco will be really, really smart to, in the first round, in round 2, in the draft next year, draft his replacement, let him sit behind him. Burford is probably going to be gone after this season too. Don't forget that. Let that then young, hopeful stud, awesome first round, second round pick back up Trent, learn from Trent, go against Bosa, go against Micah Williams, other guys in the room in his first training camp, in his first preseason. Then in 2027, take over for Trent and already have a year of reps under him on his rookie deal. So I would not say this is Trent's last year or should be.
So you're saying you would stash a guy even if he was a high draft pick?
Yes. That was Pearsall. That was Trey Lance, albeit the latter didn't work. Like, you shouldn't be afraid to draft great talent, knowing that, especially offensive linemen, there is some hit or miss there, and San Francisco likes kind of their lighter-footed, shorter-armed guys to play tackle. So I would not be afraid of stashing a first-round pick. They've done it plenty of times, and it's worked out one of those times, but I think it gives that player a better chance to be great off the jump, off the rip, if you can sit behind Trent. It's made defensive players better. Why not do what the offensive guys do?
Willie Rodriguez says, I hope we get rid of the old fart Cabo crew. Too many injuries, including Brock. Tired of the same old crap every year. No rings. This regime, no rings in 30 years. Too many excuses. I go through like this weird, up and down thing, Willie, where I kind of get like you, and I just go completely scorched earth on the 49ers. This week has been one of those weeks. My biggest issue being that people think you can just plug and play everybody and that nothing's going to change and the Niners are going to run as usual. It's like people are starters for a reason. You can't just say, oh, we're going to stick this guy into the lineup and he'll be just fine. Yeah, if you're going against a team like the New Orleans Saints, but the bearded gentleman seems very negative. I resemble that remark. Thank you. Thanks.
If you haven't learned yet, this show is usually me and Dre pulling Aaron out of the depths of being upset and being, it's not that bad, Aaron. Come with us the optimistic way. There's more room for you, but we even ourselves out here on the show. It's pretty much the odd couple.
If you were in my house, my brother is exactly the same way about the Dolphins. And my nephew, who's younger than me, he's about the age of the Niners' last championship. He was born in 95. If you sat and watched a 49ers game with me and my nephew, you would think we weren't fans because all we do is critique and we sound like whiny little kids. Like, yeah, they suck. Yeah, you're garbage, dude. And we're calling guys out on the screen and whatever. I think it was we were watching the Seattle game, I think from 2019, where Dre Greenlaw got the interception and we still couldn't do anything offensively in that game. Man, that was probably we sounded like two old men, just being so curmudgeon-y watching the game, because that's just I'm a very I'm passionate, and I'm also really, really over the top critical of the 49ers. This is how I've always been. Like I said, I came into this year with a better attitude, and these injuries have kind of thrown me back down the negative path, or as you guys like to call me, Debbie Downer.
Does it give you more a more positive outlook knowing that on Sunday they are likely going to have Juwan Jennings back? They're going to have Jordan Watkins back. It seems like they're going to have some semblance of the same team again. Guys are hurt, and it's going to be a tough game because you are injured, and things with the backup quarterback aren't always going to be easy. It'll be a thin line. But I do think that this scheme is probably going to revert back to, run the football 30 plus times, pound CMC, pound Robinson, and try to get Mac Jones into play action, make it easier for him, scheme guys open. Don't let his arm get in the way. Mac Jones has 45 interceptions on his career. He will give the football up. It's not very good there. However, you love Kyle Shanahan. He should be able to scheme up guys against this Saints defense, which, it's fine, but it's not a world beater. It's a fine defense. Brandon Staley is their defensive coordinator. That guy sucks really bad, really, really bad. Shanahan, at least from a schematic standpoint, should be able to outduel him in their chess match this Sunday.
I wanted to talk about a video that I seen. I'm just looking for it right now. Because I wanted to get your opinion on. Yeah, here it is. Let me. My question.
Is that Emory Jones?
I think so.
What is that? Okay.
He's talking about the injuries piling up for the 49ers, and he pretty much says that if well, let me play the video. This is kind of how I feel a little bit and why I'm getting so much blowback on X. But I'll let you. This is mainly about Brock Purdy and nobody else. And let me go to the right page.
Scroll up. You don't get Brock Purdy back within the next 3 weeks, then you can cancel this season. This is going to be another season where they're not going to have a winning record. But if Brock Purdy comes back, let's say for that Jags game, right? Then you look at the schedule. You say, okay, if he can come back for Jacksonville and you got the Rams and that stretch of games right there, because you have to win these NFC games, especially those games against the Bucs and Falcons, because you're probably vying for what I like to say is that 6 or 7 seed as a wild card. So without Brock Purdy, then all of this becomes another 6-win type season, unless Mac Jones turns into Sam Darnold with the Vikings or turns into Brock Purdy himself. But I don't believe that to be the case, because we've seen Mac Jones play before. And so that's the only thing that gives me cause for pause with him being this newfound guy in this offense.
There you go. I mean, pretty much poo-pooed on the fact that if Brock is out for a long period of time, kiss the season goodbye. It's kind of how I feel. I'm not gonna lie. If it's like you said, 1 or 2 games, it's one thing. But if it's a 6-game, 8-game stretch, they've got to win NFC games. They have if they want to be a wild card team. You know,
I don't think Brock is missing 6 to 8 games with this turf toe variant. If anything, he'll be back by week 6 at the latest, I think. Now maybe I'm wrong, but it doesn't feel like the Niners believe it's that drastic. Because if it was that bad, they would have signed Mike White and they would have put Purdy on IR yesterday. And they didn't do that.
You have confidence in Mac Jones?
That's a pretty loaded question, right? Because I think Mac Jones can win this Sunday. I do that. I think Mac Jones, with the aid of Kyle Shanahan, can win and beat the Saints this Sunday. Now, will this game be tougher to do with Mac Jones than Brock Purdy? Of course it will. He's a backup quarterback for a reason. However, Mac Jones, for all the bad things or all the bad games he's played, is a serviceable backup quarterback in a much better scheme than he ever was in New England, in a much better scheme than he ever was in Jacksonville last year. 2 defensive head coaches. In fact, 3 defensive head coaches, I believe. Now he has an offensive mind in charge, a guy that can actually scheme guys open for him. Christian McCaffrey in the backfield, which the offensive line wasn't great in run blocking last week. He didn't run for much, but it does feel like that, at least this Sunday. Again, for 1 week, I do trust Mac Jones. I do believe in Mac Jones. Now, this game may be 20-10. This game may be 17-13. It may be a nail-biter because Mac Jones throws a pick or 2. Spencer Rattler is also averaging 1 turnover a game. Like, we forget that. Oh, well, Mac Jones is playing. Do you trust him? We're forgetting the Saints aren't good on offense. I get it. They were in a tight game against the Cardinals week 1. Okay, whatever. Go to their stats. Go to their PF score, right? The PF, they were the worst run blocking team in football last week. They can't run the football. I have it here. A 37.4 run blocking PFF grade.
That's horrendous.
50 is average in PFF. 37. They cannot establish the run. They may not have their starting right tackle, who is also terrible in pass protection. They're not going to have one of their guards. They're not going to have one of their premier, although premier in quotes, edge rusher and Chase Young. They're not going to have their starting safety. Yes, we're questioning Mac Jones. Yes, we're talking about, can he be good? And can the offense find a way to put some points on the board? Those are all valid questions to have. I have them. It's remained to be seen. But that's also with the understanding that the Saints also have to score points too.
Right.
And the odds they can do that at a high level are very, very slim, knowing that San Francisco's defense is entirely healthy. No one's hurt. Fred's out there. Bosa's out there. In fact, this defense saved this offense against a much better team last week.
True.
And I don't want Niner fans to walk into a game, just thinking they're going to, dog walk the Saints, but also don't walk into this game being like, well, Mac Jones is the quarterback. There's 10 other guys on offense and 11 other guys on defense. And you have Kyle Shanahan and Robert Saleh calling plays against a Kellen Moore, Spencer Rattler, or like Spencer Rattler led offense. And like, the Saints aren't good. They're not good. They have an okay defense that played one good game against the Cardinals. Do you think the Cardinals are good? They're okay. They're fine. They're worse than the Seahawks are. Why are we all like tiptoeing around things, walking on ice? It's the Saints. Yeah, be confident. Be considerate of them. Give them respect. It's also the Saints.
Guys, he's working on me. He's making me more positive. I swear on my life, if they cannot win this Sunday, it's not because Mac Jones threw 3 picks. It's because the defense fell apart and the offense couldn't run the football. That's why. That is why. I mean, they still have their 2 top running backs if they could somehow mix and match with that. Howdy made a good point. So, Howdy, I don't know if you're a guy or a girl, so I just called you Howdy. Howdy, ma'am. Or howdy, sir. If the Niners can save 500 by week 6, the wheels should be up for a nice light. That's kind of how I felt this year, that if the Niners could, I don't know, get to a certain point, and even if they have a 500 record, if they can go on a late run. I mean, right now, today, I think the Niners are a wild card team. If things stay as they are, no more injuries, no more serious injuries, knock on wood. My desk is actually made of wood. And then they can start getting guys back. Like you said, Demarcus Robinson, Ayuk down the line, getting Brock back. If I don't know if Watkins can turn into something, you think maybe not. Larry Krueger, you told me off camera, said he could be the second coming, right?
Well, not that far, but Larry's very high on Jordan Watkins, which, I mean, maybe he's right. I mean, and if he is, great for Larry. And I don't know. I just don't have high hopes for a rookie wide receiver in the offense 2 weeks into the season, in which he didn't play the last 2 preseason games. He didn't play week 1. So maybe I'm wrong. I think the Saints, if they can get play action going against them, are susceptible to the deep ball, but that remains to be seen. And until it is seen, I'm not going to believe it's going to happen. But I also do like Jordan Watkins. Don't get it wrong. Just Shanahan, year 1 receivers. It's not the great matchup for him.
Yeah, we got to look at things here. This Shanahan doesn't play young wide receivers, and he's also a wide receiver in the NFL he's not a first round pick either. So yeah, I would be nice if he became something down the line this season, where you didn't expect anything from him, and he does something.
Well, to Howdy's point, though, to Howdy's comment, do you actually believe, let's say Brock is out until the Buccaneers game in week 6, and it's Mac Jones, and let's say everyone else that is currently healthy remains healthy. So Kittle's out, Ayuk is out, Robinson comes back, obviously, against Jacksonville, but it's Mac Jones at the helm. CMC stays healthy. Pearsall stays healthy. Juwan stays healthy. The entire defense stays healthy. Do you think that team can be 3-3 going into week 6?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
So why are we down, Aaron? Why are we down?
We got to, it's the, I'll tell you why. It's the injuries. They dampen my excitement because I get, like everybody else, I get excited when I think about possibilities. I get excited when I think about this team at full strength. I get hyped. I'm like, man, they can be kind of this under the radar team that nobody believes in this year. And then you go into playoffs, maybe not win the Super Bowl this year, but maybe they knock off somebody with a better record and they screw up, somebody's great season. Maybe they win a divisional game they ain't supposed to win or something. I don't know.
Right.
But the injuries, every time another one goes, here we go again with the injury talk. Shut up. You know what? If you're going to talk you should be in here with us. Don't play that game.
Hey, go celebrate your kid's birthday, Andre. Get out of here.
Yeah, stop being a freaking delinquent father. I'm kidding.
Don't light your kids' candles. Jeez.
Jeez, man. Jeez. I'm going to tell your wife. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know who she is. But that's the thing. It's like I'm excited when you're talking about all that stuff, but it's just like this game, like if we could just get through this game and I don't hear that ba-da-dum, 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 bum, bum, the slow music when somebody gets hurt and they're going to a commercial.
Jingle.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. If we can get through that, then maybe then I start being like a giddy little schoolgirl with the 49ers because they are my first crush. I'm obsessed. I've been obsessed with the Niners for years. I guess that's why I get so down, because it's like I want to have such high expectations of them, and like the injuries just kind of kick me in the balls.
Does it give you more confidence, the fact that the odds would say that Kyle Shanahan did want Mac Jones in 2021 and now he has him here? And there were reports that the Niners tried to trade for Mac Jones last year as Brock Purdy's backup. So they've been trying to get him for a while. That, to me, makes me a little more confident that Kyle at least believes. And look, Kyle's been wrong plenty of times, but when your offensive play caller, who has been to 2 Super Bowls, albeit they've lost, and has found a way to win a lot of games with backup quarterbacks, Nick Mullins, at Brock Purdy at one point, Jimmy Garoppolo in 2021, albeit it was a second game of the season, like they have been able to win games with backups and help stabilize a season. Like, I think that Mac Jones, at least in Kyle's eyes, can run this offense at a pretty high clip. Now, not the clip of, let's say, Brock Purdy, who has mobility and he's a playmaker, he's a gunslinger, he'll do things that separate himself from the rest of the pack in regards to quarterback tier and stuff. But I think Mac Jones is going to be fine.
Brock Purdy, to me, if he had elite size and he had an elite arm, would be Josh Allen-esque. You can see it in his very, not diminished, that's not the right word. In his, he's a small guy and doesn't have the big arm. But like some of the things I see Brock do, I'm like, man, if he was just like 4 more inches taller and had a slightly bigger gun, he would be an amazing, super heralded quarterback, because this is the quarterback that everybody like, gets excited for. He would literally be Mahomes. Yeah, I get that vibe. He does remind me. It's like a low rent poor man's version of Brock, what Brock is. Speaking of Brock, do you think this, they call it a variant of turf toe, whatever that means? Do you think it's more of a pain tolerance thing? Maybe not this week, but like the weeks coming up, where it's like if he can play with it, they'll go with him? Or is it more, do you think it's actually a mechanical thing, an injury thing? Because depending on who you listen to, because everybody's got an opinion, some people think it's more of a pain tolerance thing, whereas other people think, like, I guess it's where the big toe meets the foot. It's been like hyperextended or stretched or pulled or something, and that it can, hurt a guy's ability to stand in the pocket and push off. So I don't know, what have you gathered? Are you kind of obsessed with it like I am and been like listening to different people?
I think my assumption is it's more about planting and being able to follow through, I guess, with your throws. And when you're having to scramble because 57% of your snaps are under pressure, that will put further damage or, will put you through more pain. So I think it's smart for San Francisco, albeit you don't want to rest Brock Purdy. I think for a week's time, see how he feels on Monday after this game on Sunday. If he feels better, feels good, okay, awesome. Like, he's doing better and there's a chance. Like, they didn't really rule him out until yesterday. Obviously, they knew, but I think there's a clear indication that you don't sign a third quarterback. Brock doesn't go in IR. Like, there is hope he's back by next week. Now, maybe that doesn't happen, but it definitely feels like that. It's more of a, hey, Brock needs more than 1 week. Let's give him some time. We're playing the Saints. Mac Jones is a fine quarterback. We believe that Purdy will be back soon. There's probably some irritation in his plant leg when he's rolling out, and running around. So let's try to salvage the season, if you will, by letting Brock miss 1 game against New Orleans, in which we believe that Mac Jones can beat that defense out there in NOLA. So I think it's a little bit of both of like, yeah, there's concerns of, planting your leg and running around, but San Francisco clearly is not that worried about it. Like, yes, they're concerned, but like justifiably concerned. It's their starting quarterback not playing games, not like, oh my God, season's over. It's like, no, he just needs a week or two. He'll be out there.
It's kind of the vibe I'm getting to. Another question, again, I didn't have down, I should have asked you, or I will ask you, is how much do you blame the 49ers offensive line last week in Seattle, and how much is Seattle as a really good damn line? Because Seattle was getting after it. Yeah. And I was like, man, do we suck that bad on the offensive line, or are they really, really talented? I mean, because the run game was like non-existent.
Yeah.
Non-existent. There was no holes. Yeah. And I saw you tweet, and then 49ers offensive line are like, run blocking is like, piss poor. Like they're doing a horrible job. I kind of got that tweet. If you care to elaborate.
No, yeah. I mean, I think you're right that the Niners run blocking was bad. Like Christian McCaffrey didn't have anywhere to go. Neither did Brian Robinson. I do think Brian Robinson left some yards on the field, but even then, like you're averaging about 3 yards a clip with your all-pro offensive player of the year running back. Now, to give Seattle's defense credit, as Kyle Chipto says, they're really good. Like, do I think they're top 10 defense? They might be. I don't think they are after 1 week's time, but Mike McDonald out there in Seattle knows how to scheme it up. That was like, if you watched my preview podcast, if you watched everything we did leading into that game, it was, how does this offensive line face Mike McDonald's defense? You saw Brian Flores' defense overwhelm them last year. It's pretty much the same unit. A different defense to a certain degree, but similar in how they attack the quarterback in the offensive line with different looks and how they disguise things. I was not shocked to see San Francisco's offensive line struggle last week whatsoever. I wasn't. Now, did I expect 57% pressure rate? No, I didn't. Did I expect the running game to not get going? No, I didn't, but they should have a lot more success this Sunday. So if Trent's healthy, obviously that's a concern. He wasn't great against Seattle last week. Is it no preseason? Is it just he's getting older? I think it's the former than the latter, but at least I hope it is the former than the latter. But you should be able to see an improved unit this Sunday against the Saints. Very different defensive schemes, different defensive, play calling styles. Like McDonald is probably a top 5 defensive play caller in football. Brandon Staley might be the worst. Like, that's just the truth.
The fact that he was on our staff last year, or was that 2 years ago? No, it was last year.
It was last year. Yeah.
The 2-man. I call it the 2-man, no man crew. Yeah. It was like, we didn't have a defensive coordinator last year. We had a surf bomb. It looked like he might dabble in little crystal meth in the basement.
Oh man.
Like that. Yeah, he had a little bit. He had like little crystal meth vibe going. Somebody made a comment about, because I wanted to, I want to get to the defense in a second, because I think the Niners defense. I'm interested to see what they do again this week, because they didn't jump off the field or jump off the screen with me during the game last week, but they also didn't look overmatched either, if that makes any sense. I didn't see anything where I was like, whoa, Mykal Williams, he's the second coming of this, or Alfred Collins. I know some people say he was the worst rated player, and I have my opinions on that, but some of the plays that they made last week, shutting down some of those screen passes where like it almost could have been a pick six. Was that one on the left sideline? Well, no, it'd be their right sideline. I mean, how intrigued. I'm pleasantly I'm like kind of excited to watch this game. I want to see the defense again. Like they intrigue me.
I think San Francisco's defense was the best unit on the field for both teams. Okay. I think they did have some jump off the field plays. Obviously, Samuel Kawanu's forced fumble chasing down the ball carrier and Marquis Seal getting a recovery. I think Nick Bosa shoving Abraham Lucas off a 3-year extension into Darnold to force the game-winning strip sack and get the recovery himself. I thought D Winters flew around and everything. I really thought that Robert Saleh, who has a really tough task walking into a new-ish building, same building, but new team, new roster, asked to completely gut it, hit refresh, bring fresh talent in, start 2 rookies in the secondary week 1, try to mix and match young defensive linemen in there and hope it works out. I thought Fred Warner and D Winters were incredible. I thought the way they fought late in the game was awesome. I'll highlight that, and I said it plenty of times now since then, but if this was last year, that last drive for that Seahawks offense, they score and they lose that game. To have Saleh out there, to have San Francisco's offense, for as bad as they were and as inconsistent as they were, to have them, I think they won the time of possession by about 6 minutes, if not more, to keep the defense fresh. I honestly walked away thinking, if they play like that or some version of that in games that matter, like the Seahawks game, the Cardinals game, games against the Rams, the Buccaneers, this team will be much better than we thought. I don't think anybody walked into week 1 thinking you're going to hold the Seahawks offense, which, yes, has problems, yes, has their own concerns, to 13 points. I didn't think that.
Less than 200 yards passing. Was they have 150? Right. Yeah.
And have the run defense look that good and get 2 takeaways, a clutch game-winning takeaway. Those things matter, and I think the defense was awesome. I think they're top 5 in EPA now, which, if you believe in that stuff, if you don't, whatever, but they were good enough on the tape and in the more advanced analytics part of the game too.
You talked me into it again. No, I enjoyed watching them last week. It was nice. Yeah. It's fresh. It's different. You don't recognize anybody out there. I mean, we know who they are because we follow the team, but it's just man, if someone like Alfred Collins could just figure it out and learn how to get his ass from getting torpedoed.
Yeah.
That one highlight where he just, I've never seen how did a guy that big get pushed backwards like that. But I mean, that's something that was happening in training camp from what you said and other people were saying too. So
yeah.
Be nice. Him or CJ West can show something along with Mike Hill. Then you get really excited because then you're like, okay, now I can see it. I can see what it's turning into. Right now, it's like I said, I didn't see a bunch of stuff flash. You might have seen it. I think with me, when I say flash, I'm thinking a bunch of sacks. You know what I mean? I'm kind of the more sacks you get, then I'm like, oh wow, this line's dominant. But for what some of the talk was, based on some of the stuff I was watching just this past week, that they did a lot of stuff with making the pocket close and him not having the distance between him and the defense, or I forget exactly what they were talking about, but the Niners got some definite push. Said that Collins is a project that needs to learn to eat space in the meantime, becoming truly productive. 100%. I agree with you 100% on that. Wanted to switch gears. I want to put up the video. We got to talk about Jake Moody no longer being the kicker of the San Francisco 49ers. And I got Kyle here. He's just talking about, kind of what went into the decision and how they came to it. And let me bring this up on screen. We could talk kicker. Real exciting thing to talk about.
Our favorite.
Conversation to have with Moody after you bring him here and then you coach him, you give him, some confidence, you help him build his confidence, but then in the end, it's not working out.
I don't think it's that hard to have because I think it is what it is. I mean, I think he knows he wouldn't disagree with us. I mean, he lost his he'd have to say why, but it looked like he lost his confidence and he wasn't kicking the ball well enough and it was way too inconsistent. So once that happens and when your stroke in golf is changing all the time and you're trying to fix things, trying not to miss, it's very hard to succeed at this level that way. And there wasn't anything I had to beat around the bush on. He knew that. And to a degree, I think this will give him a chance to move on and hopefully find a place where he can get his swag back in that way.
How are Brock and Mac different?
That's the second highlight I've brought up this week. where they start talking about something else at the end.
Yeah,
And
just
then
cutting those highlights together.
yeah, and then here we can hear from the kicker himself too, and then we can talk about it. Just bring up the video. Sorry, guys. It's not the biggest guy, little tiny guy. There we go.
It's been a crazy week. I was supposed to leave to Atlanta yesterday until I got the call to come over here, and took the opportunity and didn't look back. So super happy.
So you had a choice between here
Yeah,
and Atlanta. What kind of went into choosing here over?
Yeah, I mean, I want to win games. I want to be a part of a good culture, and I'm in my 8th year of my career, and I want to win. So
There you go. Mr. Pinheiro wants to win football games. Eddie Pinheiro, new kicker of the San Francisco 49ers. I'm excited. Moody was so bad. I never thought I'd be excited to have a new kicker. Thoughts on any of that? First with Kyle. I mean, I didn't think they were going to make the move, Sterling. I thought they were going to stall like they've been doing. I was pleasantly surprised that they actually gave him the old heave-ho, and you never want to see anybody lose their job. He landed right back on his feet. He got signed by the Bears and going on their practice squad, so props to him. Maybe he can turn it around and be a really good kicker. He just wasn't he couldn't do it for the 49ers. To me, it was an easy decision. I think they dragged their feet on it a lot, and I didn't think they were going to do it after week one. Like I told you, I think I've said it to you and Andre, like he's going to do just enough to keep his job another week. And that's what it seemed like. Oh, they won. He had one decent kick in the game, which was kind of somewhat the difference of the score. So, but like, hey, new kicker. I'm happy.
Yeah, I think Niner fans, it's very rare when you see all of us unite and have the same collective thought of like, oh, thank God. Like, what took you guys so long? Like,
right.
We have been begging and screaming and yelling. Like, my immediate reaction was like, get that freaking bum off my team. Thank God. You saw, I'm sure whether it was my tweets or other people's tweets on Sunday against the Seahawks of like, he's got to go. Like, we knew coming into the year that it was going to take likely him costing you a game for them to finally give it up. And it should never have got that far, and it almost did. And so thankfully they have come to their senses and said, okay, like that was a nail biter. Didn't need to be. If we made, albeit one of the field goals that was missed, it was blocked, wasn't his responsibility or his fault. But you missed one kick, that game could have been, 20 to 13, and San Francisco's playing for another field goal late, and that game is 16-13. And the Seahawks never touched the football at the end of the game at all. So those are outcomes you'll never know because it's all, what could have been. But I think people seeing how bad Jake Moody has been, seeing other kickers in the NFL, whether it was Robbie Gould before Jake Moody or guys in the league now making kicks, game-winning kicks and clutch kicks, I think Niner fans and other fans now realize that kickers matter a lot. Like, they usually lead your team in points at the end of the year. They are what can separate you from a one-score game to a one-score loss, to a 3-point win, to a 3-point loss, to a division winner, to a wild card winner, to a no playoffs at all. And I think they got lucky. Like, I don't know how many times this regime continues to get lucky. Like, eventually it runs out, and it has in the playoffs at times, but they cut the worst statistical kicker in football since 2012 and found the third most accurate kicker among active guys. Like, that doesn't happen. Now, why was Pinheiro available? I don't know, but I just think that they got lucky. And I think for at least this week, Pinheiro played in the NFC South, only missed one career kick against the Saints in his entire time. That one came in New Orleans, but okay. Do you feel comfortable running out Pinheiro for a 35-yard field goal, 27-yard field goal, or Jake Moody? Now with the backup quarterback being in and no Kittle, you're going to need that kicker more than ever.
I feel like kicks, I feel like when we getting to the point where we have to hold our breath for just a 25-yard kick, it's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Like people are making kicks, 41-yard kicks, like nothing. It's easy. And with him, it's like the Three Stooges running out there on the football field, Motley and Curly. It's like, well, what kind of freaking clown operation are we running here with this guy? So yeah, to say that I was happy, there's still people. Man, we have some weird people in our fan base. So the kicker last night, one of the kickers missed some kicks, and people were like, "Oh, trying to make a comparison to Moody, like as if we did something wrong letting him go. Like, look, kickers miss kicks. Really? That's what we're doing when the guy probably, yeah, but like, there's a different thing about like missing kicks, but you're usually an accurate kicker.
Yeah, exactly.
Compared to a guy that has a career percentage under 80%. Like, stop. There's so much coping that goes on with the people sometimes, making like we're the big bad boogeyman, that we're getting rid of players or we cut players to do, I'm so like, that is so annoying. Like, stop.
Which to Kyle Shanahan's point though, like Jake came in, he was changing some mechanics during the offseason. He got hurt last year. Like, okay, like maybe that is a defense, but that's a defense you shouldn't have after week 1 in which he does miss 2 kicks, one of them being his fault, one of them not being. Like, that's something that you work through with him in a competition during training camp in the preseason. That didn't happen. There's obvious reasons as to why. The injuries piled up. How do you maneuver that during actual preseason games? But if anyone out there is trying to cope with the loss of Jake Moody, or defend him in any means, like, Jake's a great guy and all, but like, huh? Like, that's the guy you want to defend?
Yeah,
70% field goal percentage last year, the worst in football. That's the guy you want to have go out there again? No way.
Yeah, that's the sword you want to fall on, is that one. I don't understand that. I hate people that don't agree with me too, guys. It's not even that they're not agreeing with me. It's just when people let feelings getting in the way of business decisions on the football field, or like they got to get rid of a guy.
Yeah.
I just like the Niners are doing something wrong. Like, how dare they? I just think that's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's not about disagreement. It's the fact that like this, like, take the offseason, for example. When this team cut Dre Greenlaw, the fan base was torn. Part of the fan base said, he's often injured. You can't pay a guy that's not going to play a lot of money. And okay, I fell in that part of the fan base. But other fans were like, it's Dre freaking Greenlaw. Like, he's been so good for us for so long. How do you not pay him? The energy, all that stuff. And that isn't to say you're wrong, although Dre is not playing week 2 and didn't play week 1 for Denver either. It's more
Big
about,
surprise.
I mean, and look, I love Dre Greenlaw. I have his jersey. I was wearing it the day he tore his Achilles. I was bummed. I was like, this is my fault. What did I do? Like, it was terrible. But it's not about disagreement that's going to happen. It needs to happen amongst the fan base. It's more about who you defend in your disagreements matters, and Jake Moody is not that guy. Like, really not that guy.
I got freaking destroyed by people in the offseason. One, on the Moody situation, where they said, come back to me when he misses kicks that matter. And I'm like, okay, he will. Shasky himself, Joe Shasky, had a thing where he was talking on, I don't even think I had the video. I think it was just a tweet of his, a tweet that was followed by something he said on the radio. And essentially what he says is, when he costs you a game, and he will, that's what he said. That.
Yeah.
Someone I respect a ton on radio. Everybody knew that he was going to do something down the line that would cost the 49ers. And people were like, well, we'll wait till it happens in the regular season. I'm like, why would you allow it to get to that point? Why would you do that? Why would you cost a game out of stubbornness? Like, they thought like the Niners, like I myself was being unreasonable, like being unreasonable with a guy, like you said, that can't even, barely makes over 70% of his kicks. Like, it's not being unreasonable. It's a business, and it's a business of winning. And like, feelings don't matter. You have to cut people sometimes. And I'm sorry. The Greenlaw thing, I'll be honest with you, I thought D Winters played exceptionally well. Do you want a guy who's maybe a little bit less of a player but plays all the time than a guy who flashes and is insanely physical and is a game-changing player, but he's only going to play 6 games a year or 10 games a year, and he's never on the field when you need him. Like it wasn't to me. It was these are no-brainer type moves, and like you got to not be emotionally invested or attached to sometimes these players, especially a kicker. Like, what are we doing here? I don't know. Anytime you have an opinion that is like anywhere near a little bit critical of this team, people are like, you're a hater, you're not a real fan. It's like, no, I've been around a long time. And I think I speak for most people when I say that, like, it wasn't a real competition in camp. I feel like he won the competition based on semantics because they had to make roster moves. And that's the only reason he really kept the job. I was scared when they couldn't get Joseph, and then when I found out the guy that they actually did sign, and I saw the same statistics, I was like, hey, that felt really well for them. I hope there's nothing underlying that we don't know about with this Pinheiro guy. But hey, go make kicks, man. Go make kicks. Don't be missing kicks on Sunday, man. You got to go make them. Well, this fan base would be like, well, we should have just get Moody. You know how people would get.
Right. But that's the point too. Like, okay, if you keep Jake Moody and he misses kicks, you're in the exact same spot if you bring in somebody else and they also miss kicks. Okay, like it's just why not try something different? But we had a comment here in the YouTube chat by Bobo saying, every time we lose, I blame Kyle Shanahan, which that's a pretty common response and sometimes pretty accurate. I will say this, though. If the Niners are going to be without Brock Purdy and George Kittle and are forced to play Mac Jones for 2-3 weeks, or even if San Francisco wins this Sunday against the Saints, can we appreciate how great Kyle Shanahan is and the wizardry that he is as a play caller? Yes, there's faults there. Yes, there's problems there. Clock management. It's still very, evident in what he does and everything. And that happened against the Seahawks too. But if some way San Francisco finds a way to beat 2-0, 3-0, 3-2 walking into, week 6, can we appreciate Kyle Shanahan for once and I guess praise him for getting us to that record, because we need him now more than ever. Like him having to be the genius as he's been called plenty of times, like that needs to be on display. And if it is, then they're in a great spot getting Purdy back with Kyle in a groove as a play caller.
My thing too is the one thing I've been hearing, especially with this situation, and this, I don't know if Kyle has any effect on this, would be like, if Mac Jones plays as well as Brock, do we suddenly have a situation where we have a quarterback competition? It was a pretty ridiculous statement. I feel like Shanahan could make Mac Jones look a lot better, but I'm still going to take Brock Purdy every single day of the week and twice on Sunday. I don't know. Did you pick up on some of that rhetoric going around where people were what if this happened?
I saw a tweet and I was like, even if Mac Jones somehow led this team to the playoffs, he'll get traded in the offseason for a 3rd-round pick that'll become the next washed up, insufficient running back Kyle Wastes, then move off Brock Purdy. Like, Brock Purdy's the franchise quarterback. He'll be here for the next at least 3 seasons, as long as Kyle is. Okay, if Mac Jones plays good, then you should be grateful he plays good, because that means the season isn't over with. Everyone can calm down, and Purdy comes back and is a better quarterback, and you're off to the races.
Why are we so wishy-washy as a freaking fan base? I don't get it. What is this thing where like?
Yeah, but it's not just this fan base. It's every fan base. It's like,
think so?
What if Daniel Jones comes in for the Colts and looks better than Anthony Richardson? Well, he did. He scored 37 points against the worst team in football, the Dolphins. Like, okay, like what if, take last year for example, and there's context involved with the way the Packers ran the offense was different. Malik Willis had to come in for an injured Jordan Love. They paid Love a ton of money before he had proven anything. Anything. He misses a couple games early. Willis comes in, goes 2-0, and all of a sudden it's like, well, the Packer fans weren't questioning Jordan Love. They can see with their eyes who's better. You can see with your eyes who's better, Mac Jones or Brock Purdy.
It's Brock. No, Brock's not. It's not even a question with Brock.
Well, and to respond to Strawberry's comment here, but Sterling, the media says Kyle loves Mac. You can love a backup quarterback. Kyle also liked Sam Darnold over Trey Lance. Like,
Bill Walsh loved Steve Young
enough to get off of Joe Montana. Like, and that paid off obviously for San Francisco, and Joe got hurt and went to KC and everything. But like, Kyle Shanahan probably did like Mac Jones a lot in 2021.
Yeah,
in fact,
I think he would have been a very seamless transition to come in.
Yes.
But you were never going to sell the fan base on a Jimmy generic, I call him, like a Jimmy generic quarterback. He looks like he reminds me of Woody from Toy Story, or he was just the way he walks.
Right,
you were never going to sell the fan base on that. I was, and I know we're getting off topic here, but I was, Giovanni Carmazzi. Don't talk to me about that one.
Every genius has their miss. Kyle Shanahan also wanted Joe Williams, didn't play a single snap. So
Bill Walsh also wanted Jake Plummer. He thought he was going to be the next, or it wasn't Bill Walsh. It was, I thought a lot of fans, at least thought that the Niners should have went after Jake Plummer instead of Jim Drunkenmiller when he was drafted. He did remind me a lot of Joe. I'm not going to lie. He used to move around like him. Very similar kind of a.
He was good for a long time, for like 10 years in the NFL. Cardinals and the Broncos. Yeah.
Anything you want to talk about? Oh, let me bring this up real quick. This popped up on the timeline before we started streaming. Veteran punter Brock Miller works out for the 49ers. Any news on that?
No, it's a left-footed punter. The Saints have a left-footed punter.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. Well, there you go. There you go.
I've seen people ask, and I'm like, they're not going to cut Thomas Morstead 2 weeks into the season after he was pretty good against the Seahawks.
I did not know that. Well, thank you very much. And I don't know how much more time you have left, but if you want to do just a quick preview for Sunday, what's your overall feelings about the game? We've kind of smashed everything else. We really talked about the fact that they're a bad team. We should beat them. They have a really bad run blocking offensive line. So I don't know if you just want to go right to scores and predictions. And
let me ask you this. Spencer Rattler, young quarterback, year 2, never won a football game. If you're Robert Saleh, and I'm leading you to a path, and I think I know the answer you'll give, but I want you to answer truthfully. You see a young quarterback, a guy that is averaging 1 turnover a game, if not more. What do you think the solution to scheming against that is?
Pressure.
Okay. So would that accompany blitzes, nickel blitzes, linebacker blitzes?
Everything. I would think the Niners need to throw the kitchen sink at this kid.
Okay.
Confuse them, coverage.
Right.
Coverage.
Which that was my assumption too when looking at the stats. However, when I dove a little deeper against the Cardinals, albeit different defense, different play caller on defense, no Saleh, it's Jonathan Gannon, different playmakers obviously too. Spencer Rattler, when blitzed against the Cardinals, was 7 for 10 for 60 yards and an 84 passing grade. I don't think blitzing him is the answer. I get it. You want to get pressure, right? I think you may see a pin your ears back and go get it, boys. They'll do stunts and all that stuff. They'll get creative, but I don't know if
leave as many guys in coverages and let him decipher what he's seeing.
Like, you trust your cornerbacks more than you trust the Cardinals do.
Yeah.
And I think Arizona's defense is somewhat underrated, but Lenore is near all pro. Green, for as the one catch he gave up last week was 40 yards, like, Green's a darn good number 2 cornerback.
And how much of that catch was just really good pass protection too? Like, not getting to the quarterback. Like, sometimes you can't beat a perfect throw. And if a guy has a ton of time to make a read, you can beat perfect coverage. So like it sucks that he gave up that one play. It didn't result in us losing the game. So
Which is why I think Saleh telling the guys, hey, get after it. Like, we're going to have some fun today. Pin your ears back. I'm sure Nick Bosa's licking his chops, making a backup right tackle. He's like, oh, and not just a backup right tackle, a rookie left tackle. Like, they're out there like, here we go. Here we go. Like, this is what we ask for every Sunday.
Last week that I didn't notice, and I haven't noticed since Saleh left, group tackling. The tackling was way better, and there was a lot more team tackling. It wasn't like a one-man missile Greenlaw flying over the top of everybody and missing, or a Hufanga flying over the top of everybody and missing.
Jair Brown whiffing really bad.
Yeah, like there was. It looked good. I keep going back to that one screen pass that we could have picked. They looked solid last week, man, and I'm pleasantly surprised that I think that they do carry the Niners this week too.
Yep.
Know how much you can expect scoring wise with the 49ers offense this week. Maybe 20 points, but that might be enough against this team. Just don't make any mistakes and stay healthy. That's all it really comes down to.
I have one last stat for you here
Okay.
that kind of, I think, encompasses what the game will look like this Sunday, because as we already kind of talked about, the Saints don't have the best run blocking offense, right? 18 rushing attempts last year, only 78 yards from the running backs, only 4.3 yards to carry, which was better than San Francisco, mind you, but still only 18 rushing attempts, a 37.4 run grade. What does poor running lead to, Aaron? Third and longs.
Yeah.
It's going to take, you're going to be in 3rd and 8. It's going to be in 3rd and 7.
You're not even going to respect the play action either. Like play action becomes
Exactly. And
no one cares.
And the stats I have here is that getting Rattler, the Saints offense, into more 3rd and longs, in which last Sunday against the Cardinals, it's 1 week, so this stat may change, but as of right now, they averaged nearly 7 yards, 6.8 yards to gain on 3rd downs. That ranked 21st in football. Okay. The Saints against the Cardinals were 5 for 14, 28% on 3rd downs. That offense is not sustainable, and they're playing a much, much better defense from a personnel standpoint and a coaching standpoint. The Niners defense should be able to hold this Saints offense to 10 points, 13 points. Like the exact same outing you saw against Seattle should be the outcome too. Takeaways, this kind of suffocating them because the Saints offense doesn't have explosiveness. The only one concern I have in regards to the Saints is that early in the game, 10 a.m. on the West Coast, they travel to the kind of southeast coast-ish start time. Do the Saints, or can the Saints catch San Francisco's defense napping early? Do they take a deep shot early and they test Pinnock and test Siegel with Rashid Shaheed? He's just insanely fast. If they can get behind the defense, the Saints could take a deep shot early, get ahead, gain momentum, and get some tempo. That is my only concern. Can you avoid the initial punch? If you can do that, you're going to be in a great position as the game goes on.
Sounds like a 49ers win to me. If they could just stay ahead of it, and not, like I said, no more injuries, no turnovers. Defense plays well. I don't expect a ton of scoring out of the 49ers. I'll go with the prediction right now if you want me to, but I say 20 to 10. 20 to 10 Niners. That
was mine. 20 to 10.
Okay. Yeah, I don't see a bunch of points being scored. Then again, we could be wrong. Maybe CMC comes alive in this game. It's hard. Part of me looks like he's slowed down a little bit, which gives credence to people that I don't want to give any to whatsoever. And I know
it's one game. Don't worry.
I know Lombardi doesn't either, but he still was an integral part of the game plan.
Yeah,
He did a lot. He caught balls. What's his name played well. Kyle Juszczyk, man, he was sneaky good last week. The Niners got to do what they have to do to get people touches to move the ball down the field.
Desperate. Be desperate.
Go throw to Kyle Juszczyk, throw to McCaffrey, put McCaffrey in the slot and have Brian Robinson line up at running back. Like, do what you have to do to freaking put a patchwork offense out there. If the defense looks as good as it did last week and all the things we talked about them being bad on third down and not being able to run block and being one-dimensional, the Niners should actually, it might be a little bit of a sweaty 20-10 game where you never feel like you're blowing anybody out. But
Right,
like you said,
right.
10 points might be it. So I'm looking forward to the game. We know, me and you, we talked off stream, like the world's been kind of crazy this week. We need to get our minds distracted onto something less important because times are crazy. And the one thing that I can always count on, at least even if they lose, which I don't think they will, but it's 49er football always is something I love to watch. So everybody try to take time out of your life to just go watch some football this weekend and distract yourself from the crazy world we live in. 17-14 Niners. Panero wins the game, Kenny.
And go ahead. I was
gonna say these are kind of too close for comfort. I don't know about this, guys.
I'll just end on this. You said go out of your way, enjoy some football. Go out of your way and love somebody. That's the important thing. We got to find a way to love each other again.
Yep.
It's hard. I get it. It's really hard sometimes. But
get off the internet.
Social media is a mess. Find a way to love your friends, love your neighbors, and more importantly, and it's really hard, find a way to love your enemies. It's really hard to do. We all struggle with it, but we are all humans. We deserve love. We should get love from each other. We're in this together. We need each other every single day. Check in on your people. Love your friends. Love your family. Love your neighbor. And please, for the love of God, love your enemy. Please.
Yeah. If you have a family member you haven't talked to in a while, man, reach out. Be that person. I have that problem too. I have a family member I haven't talked to in like a couple of years. And part of me is like, with everything going on, like maybe I need to be the uncle that I am, which I've done before. I've always been the bigger man. Sometimes I want other people to be the bigger man, but maybe I got to be the bigger man again and just do it. You know what I mean? But this is probably like the distraction of football can't come soon enough. This has just been a really, things have been crazy. You guys know what we're talking about. We don't have to bring it up. Like the world's crazy. Yeah. Love your enemy. Just freaking forgive people for shit, man. Like, who cares? It's not that important. Just let it go. Who cares if you have different politics, religion, whatever? Screw it. Just get along. We need it. We need it more than ever. But that's going to do it for us, guys. We appreciate everybody who showed up on Sterling's channel, 49er Access, 49ers First Takes, and even Dre letting us stream to his channel when he ain't here. No, we're just kidding, though. Thanks for support for everywhere. We will see you guys next Friday. I think Sterling will be hosting on his channel. So welcome. We're welcoming you back next week at 5 p.m. Eastern on the latest episode of Cover 3. Everybody have a great rest of your weekend. Have a great Friday evening, and we'll talk to you guys next time. Peace.